Alright, so this is 7-1. Learn target, I can find the sum, difference, product, and quotient of functions, as well as the composition of functions. So we have operations here: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and then instead of having just one polynomial, you'll have two. So the example I'm going to give you, so one of the polynomials, f of x, will be 2x plus 1, and g of x, which is negative x plus 5. So most common case you'll have where it's a two-term polynomial for these. Sometimes you might have where one's three-term, one's one-term, but all the processes are the same thing. So addition-wise, it says f of g of x, or f plus g of x equals f of x plus g of x. So our example here, we're going to use these ones right here. So you have f of x plus g of x. So what's f of x? It's 2x plus 1. What's g of x? It's negative x plus 5. Now you're just combining like terms, so 2x plus a negative x is just an x. So I'm going to put the answer right here where this arrow is. So we have an x, and then 1 plus 5 is 6. And that would be your answer then. You also have subtraction, which is the same kind of style. Right, so you have f of x minus g of x. So you have 2x plus 1 minus negative x plus 5. What you notice there with the minus is that this is actually a negative 1, so you'd have to distribute the negative 1 to both of these. And you should get then 3x minus 4. Right? So negative 1 times a negative x is just an x, and a negative 5, so you have 2x plus 1x is 3x, and then 1 minus 5 is negative 4. Multiplication, same kind of style, so you have f of x times g of x, so you have 2x plus 1 multiplied by negative x plus 5. We've done that before. We just use the FOIL method. Then finally with division, as of right now, they just want you to kind of change with this look to this look. So we have 2 of x plus 1 over, or divided by negative x plus 5. And they're asking, what can g of x not equal? So g of x can't equal 0, so we need to make sure that x can't be, in this case, x can't be 5. If I would plug 5 into here, this would equal 0, which means that my bottom term would be 0, and that means undefined. We can't have that. That's kind of the skills 1, the operations on functions. The skills 2 now is the composition of functions. So there are two functions here. We have f and g, f of x and g of x. And it's going to kind of look like this. It's this fog x, so this f of g of x, which makes it look like this. This is easier to understand, and it's what I'm going to go off of. But you could also have the f the other way, so g of x, g of f of x, which looks like that. So for example, we're going to use the same ones here. So we have f of x equals 2x plus 1, and g of x, which is negative x plus 5. So for the f of g of x, we know that equals f of g of x. This is the way I like to do it. So now f of g of x, what's kind of our strategy here? What's our plan? G of x I know is negative x 0.5. So I'm going to plug that in for here. So I know that that's the one I'm going to use, is going to be the one inside. The other one then goes after the equal sign. I'm going to make that into an equal, into a 2x plus 1. Now we're not going to do anything on the left side. The left side is going to stay the same. The right side is what we're going to be using all the simplification for. So we have the equal sign here. Now I'm going to take whatever this is, and you're just plugging it in for x, substituting it in. So you have 2 times negative x plus 5 plus 1. You should get negative 2x plus 10 plus 1, which is negative 2x plus 11. This is basically the same process as if g of x was just 2. So then you would plug 2 in for x. Here this time you're just plugging in a polynomial. For the other way now, g of x, or g of f of x, this looks like this. So you have g of f of x. So I am using the g of x and putting that, or the f of x, sorry, and putting that in the middle between g and the parentheses. So we have g of 2x plus 1, and that equals negative x plus 5. I'm then now plugging this part into x. So I have g of 2x plus 1, my left side didn't change, equals negative 2x plus 1 plus 5. So the punch holes kind of hiding that, but basically you'll get negative 2x minus 1 plus 5. I distributed this negative 1 here. So you get negative 2x plus 4 is your final answer there. Those are basically the concepts. I'm going to go through a couple practice examples now. So for 1, you have x plus 2 and 3x minus 1. And it asks you in the direction it says find addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So addition, you have x plus 2 plus 3x minus 1. The reason why I put it underlined is just because this is our operation, is the addition. So I have 4x plus 1. My answer there. Subtraction, so I have x plus 2 minus 3x minus 1. Right, so this is the negative 1 here, so we're going to have to distribute the negative 1. So we have x plus 2 minus 3x plus 1, which gives us negative 2x plus 3. Multiplication-wise, again, that's FOIL, so you have x plus 2. It's either going to be FOIL or the distributive property. You have x plus 2 times 3x minus 1. So you get 3x squared. That's the first with the FOIL. And the outside's negative 1x. Inside's plus 6x. And the last is negative 2. So you get 3x squared plus 5x minus 2. I just took negative 1x and added 6x. And then finally with division, we have x plus 2 divided by 3x minus 1. And then x can't be, how are we going to find this number here, what x can't be? We take 3x minus 1 equal to 0. Right, we want to find when this equals 0, so we know not to use that number. And you add 1 here, you get 3x equals 1. You divide by 3, you get x equals a third. So we know that x can't be a third. Alright. Flip the page, I'm going to show you another example of the composition, just for number 4. This composition here. First I'm going to show you the f of g of x, which in my case I like it looking like these are basically the same thing. I just like to look here more because then I know to go to f of, and I take g of x, put it in here, just substituting it in, and I take the other one. That's my way again of how I know which one goes in the middle and which one goes on the right side of the equal sign. And now I just go, sweet, I have this, I can substitute this in for x to get negative 15x plus 18. And then to find g of x, or g of f of x, boy, I've been screwing that up a lot. I have g, I take f of x, I put it in the middle, and that equals the other one. And then you're just plugging in, so you have 5 times 3x minus 6 equals negative 15x minus 6. I do want you to try number 6 right now, and number 2 right now. Check your answers. We'll have the key on the white table, but do try number 2 the same way with number 1, and then number 6, and then you can go off and do your homework. Daily tip of the day. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I don't know if I got any. But if you do make nachos, I guess I got one. No, make nachos. Don't just go with just, you know, the shredded cheese. Get the Vendetta cheese. That's why I like to call it the Vendetta cheese, because then you can cook it up a little bit nice and slowly, and you can make almost a nacho cheese and put a little seasoning in there. Creole seasoning, very, very good. Right? It's better than pepper and salt. You still want pepper and then you still want salt in there. But Creole seasoning, very good, very good.